Okay. Hello, everyone. Bonjour.
Hello, hello.
Bonjour. Let's see. Oh, yep.
Are
I can
we
hear
sorry?
myself.
Do we need to do a French intro?
Bonjour. Je
Bonjour tout le
m'appelle
monde.
Miney.
Je m'appelle Findrud, and that's where
Um,
my French ends. I'm very sorry.
je voudrais la bibliothèque.
Okay,
Okay.
where
Anyway,
were?
hello, everyone. Welcome to this stream with myself and Finn. Today, we are going to be revealing a bunch of information for you about the upcoming full series relay event being hosted by Islia on this very channel. But first of all,
Yes.
Finn, how are you doing today?
I am very well, thank you, Miney. I'm very excited to be here. I think it's going to be a great event, and I'm really looking forward to watching it and seeing it and cheering people on. And it's such a unique little event, isn't it? I think it's very different from really anything else that we've done or that we had in the community.
Yeah, it's definitely a very unique event, but I love that. I love what the event is going for. But speaking of what the event is, do you want to tell us a little bit more about what we can expect?
Yes, absolutely. So, what we can expect is a full series relay race, as it says in the title. So, just as a little bit of background information, when we say full series, we're referring to the main 23 Harry Potter games. So it's any game with Harry Potter in the title that is based on any of the 8 films, going all the way from the Philosopher's Stone or Sorcerer's Stone or à L'École du Sorcier. I've looked up the French title, all the way to the Deathly Hallows Part 2 across every single console. So you've got your Game Boy Colors, your Game Boy Advance, DS, PS1, 6th gen, and PC. And I feel like I've forgotten one. Oh, it's all
Um,
of them. I was going to say Wii, but nobody wants to
PC,
include.
PS1, 6th Gen, GBA, GBC, DS.
Yes. Yeah, so 23 games, and we're going to have basically 2 teams who are going to race against each other throughout all of those 23 games. So, as you can imagine, it will take some time, which is why, Miney, do you want to tell us when the event is?
Thank you, Finn. Yes, the event will be taking place on the 15th and the 16th of June over that weekend, as well as one additional day on the Saturday, the 22nd of June. So the event will be happening across 2 weekends, but 3 days, and it should be a lot of fun. In terms of where the event will be happening, it'll be happening where you're watching this very stream right now here on Islia's Twitch channel. In order to make that event happen, we're going to be looking for some support because this is a very big event, as Finn mentioned. It's a very ambitious event, so we're definitely going to need some help. And I don't know if Islia has the form ready to post in the chat for you. But essentially, we're looking for 4 roles. We're looking for moderators to help, well, moderate the chat and update commands and such. We're looking for translators. This is very important. We need people to be able to translate what our runners are saying during post game interviews and such into English so that the majority of the audience who are English speakers can understand. We need.
Sorry,
Oh,
Miney, I'm just going to interrupt you there quickly because I realized that I forgot to talk about the most important thing about this event.
absolutely.
As you mentioned, the translators, which is that this event was specifically set up to shine a brighter light at the non-English speaking part of our community, which is why the translators part is so important.
Absolutely. And there are a number of people in this event that are non English primary speakers. So I'm looking forward to getting to see them, have a spotlight shined on them for this event. Um, I mean, Gertie, you answered your question. Finn might be able to. No. Anyway,
No, I don't speak Bavarian. Sorry, Gertie. I only speak the High German.
is too British to understand that joke. Okay, moving on. Yeah, we're also looking for commentators uh, to commentate over the various games. There are obviously 23 games that will be running across this event. So there is lots of opportunity to commentate throughout this event. Some people may do more than one commentary, because there are some people that are playing more than one game in this event, just by the nature of, how many people we have in this community, because we have a finite number of people, unfortunately. And probably the most important part about this, and Finn can understand this as head of tech at Podathon, is restreamers. We cannot put on
Absolutely.
the event without people being willing to restream the event.
Yeah.
Essentially, very simple role. Well, no, I say very simple role. Actually, Finn, do you want to talk a little bit about what restreaming entails as the head of
Sure,
tech?
absolutely. Yeah. So basically the role of the restreamers will be to keep the stream running. You would I'm not quite sure what the exact setup is going to be, but you will basically be in charge of controlling OBS, of making sure that everything is visible and to be visible, making sure everything is audible that should be audible, and yeah, you basically doing sort of the techie behind the scenes side of what people are basically seeing on Twitch.
Yeah. Restreamers are the key to these sorts of events,
Mhm.
and particularly on this pay shout out here to Jagodu, who is his RTMP server that we use and abuse with these sorts of events. He is very generous to offer it up for stuff like this, so we would not be able to do these kind of things without Jagodu. So big
Yeah,
claps to Jagodu for being such an amazing. And always, he's always around as well. So if something does go wrong, he's straight on it and straight fixes it.
he is. Yeah, he's great.
So those are the four roles that we will be looking for volunteers for. I don't know if Islia has the form to post in the chat so that people can apply. But before we get into the teams and such, the event. How will the event work? Finn, how will the event work?
How will the event work indeed? Yeah, so the way that it's going to run, the way it's broken down is that we are in terms of the order of games. So we will be seeing the individual what we call single years. So basically, we'll be seeing all of the games that belong to HP1. Then there'll be a little break. Then we'll see all of the games that are related to HP2, and then there's a little break, and so on and so on and so on. And then obviously for every single game, we always have two people racing against each other, one from each team, and every game is run as an individual race. So each, I'm assuming that if I understand it correctly, so each game will basically start at the same time, and even if one team finishes before the other, we will then wait for the other person to also finish before we start the next game. I think that's correct, mine, isn't there?
That is correct, yes. Um, yes, and that is to ensure that we're able to have a I don't want to say fair competition because that's not the right word, but like a good viewing experience, because you don't want to see like one team miles ahead of the other. Although, hopefully, with the balancing that Isley has done, and she's put a lot of work into these teams, we shouldn't
Yeah.
have that issue anyway. But it just means that like I know from experience with the Hand Effective Relay, for example, like sometimes the switching out between games of commentary was a little bit weird sometimes, where like you sort of hand
Yeah,
off and
switching on the fly from a tech point of view is really, really difficult. So I think this kind of solution will give everyone kind of the best viewing experience. And obviously there'll still be will still be timers running overall, so we'll still be able to see exactly which team overall is in the lead and which team overall is behind. But I think it just gives everyone a little bit more space to fully celebrate the runners and celebrate the games and just make sure that we're all just having a good time basically in the end.
Absolutely. But speaking of like times, the event will start on the 15th of June at 9:30 a.m. Central European Time, and it will start with a custom intro from a certain somebody within the community. I won't say who, but they'll be flying the flag for Romania, I hear. Do you hear the same thing?
But I couldn't possibly comment on that, Miney.
Oh, playing hard to get. Okay. God, sorry, I made myself cough laughing. Um, right. So I think that's everything else we need to talk about before we got into the team reveal. 1 second, I need
Yeah.
to have a quick cough. Um, but yeah. So apologies, chat. I just coughed down Finn's ears. I muted. I muted for chat's sake because I didn't want you
Unbelievable.
guys to hear. I wanted you to know that I was just coughing down the chat's ears constantly. I was just my prior. Oh, sorry, you just went into the red. I just saw bring you down a little bit. Yeah, my Finn's laughing peaked there apparently. Anyway, enough talk about technical stuff. Let's talk about the matchups. So, in terms of the schedule of the event, we will be running the. We'll be sort of revealing it like this. We'll have the game, okay, in this example, HP2 Chungus. I will preface there is no Chungus in this event.
It does not feature in this event. Calm down, people.
So then you have Team 1 versus Team 2. Okay, so for the first game, Finn. So I guess let's alternate this.
Yes, so our first game is HP1 Game Boy Color Any Percent Ace, and facing against each other will be Menor versus Mark.
Indeed, a very interesting matchup. Menno quite well versed in 1GBC. Mark coming in and taking the New Game Plus record when Ace became a thing. So I think we could see a good matchup here. But
Absolutely, yeah.
continuing with these two though into 1GBA, we also have Menno and Mark. 1GBA will be run as the any percent version. I will specify keep an eye on the category at the top because not every game is running any percent. Some of the games are running major skips versions, stuff like that, just to make it a bit more interesting. Because especially 1GBA, as we all know, it's the shortest game in the series. I think the world record is something like 157 or
Yeah.
something really small like that. So we tried to get no run warp in here, but it didn't quite work. So in order to not, because Finn, you ran 1GBA at the 7 part 2 relay, right?
Yes, I did. And even I managed to complete it in I think I did a 2 or 5 in the relay. So if I can do it, so can you. Fill that leaderboard, people. It's actually a really fun run as well.
He also did the 10 times 1 with Dino at Pop Online. But anyway,
I did, yeah. That
the
was
reason that
something else.
the reason I bring that up is just because you were very much in and then out immediately, weren't you?
Yeah. Yeah,
Whereas,
and and I'm really really glad that that it's the same pairing for both of them
yeah,
because it would be very how can I say this? Uh it wouldn't be worth someone's effort, I think, coming in for 2 minutes and then leaving again. So I'm very
yeah.
glad that both of them just get to do both
All right,
games.
moving on to the next game.
Yes, so next up we have HP1 PS1 any percent, no major skips. So just like Miney said, this is not the normal any percent. We will see the no major skips category in this tournament. And facing against each other are Solalgon versus iMech.
Very interesting matchup here. I'm very curious to see how this turns out. Um, I bet he's quite high. I think he's like one of the. I know remember his name a lot because he's sort of in that top part around the top 10. So if
Yeah,
Nick says like top 10 challenge, I've heard his name come up a lot. I'm not exactly sure
yeah.
where Salah is on the board, but I do recognise their name as being quite high up. So that will be an interesting matchup to see for that one. Moving on now to 1/6 gen, any percent, best game. We have a matchup between Brandino and Islia, our event host. Yes, Islia will be taking part in this event, going up against Brandino, which I believe is his first event tournament thing that he's ever done within the community. So that's going to be cool to see him make his event debut. And Islia, of course, hosting the event, coming from the 6 gen community, both runners. Brandino delving into the DS community as well. So I guess you could say he has a high tolerance to pain. I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, and I think I mean this one's going to be really really interesting just in terms of the pairing because looking at the leaderboards, there's only but just under 30 seconds difference in their PB. So
Oh,
Islia currently sitting on eighth with a 2:37.28, and Brandino right behind on ninth with a 2:37.57. So that's definitely going to be a really really close match, I think.
definitely. Um, yes, and Brandino was also the person to have the wrongly timed 2 PS2 any percent time, putting him in last place, which recently got retimed. So Brandino is better than some people may think because of that wrong timing. But then, of course, moving on to. Wait, hang on, is this yours or mine?
Moving on to the true best game of all of the 23, which is, of course, HP1 PC any percent. And I think it comes to no surprise to anyone that in this game we will see Mip Mip facing against Flo. And that's going to be a very, very, very exciting matchup, I think.
Very much. Our two top runners. Even though I know the gap between first and second is very big, we still have like two of our most competitive runners, of course, Mip, coming quite high up in the Glicious A tournament for HP2. But this is HP1, of course, and Flo, of course, the winner of last year's HP1 tournament. And world record holder for of any percent for over 5 years now.
Hmm.
Like half a decade, Finn. Can you believe that?
That's insane. And but I mean, as anyone that's seen Flo play HP1 will know that it's no surprise, and I think he will hold that for quite some time. I know he's currently grinding for the 103, so putting even more of a gap in between himself and the rest of the leaderboard, really. But it's a tournament. We all know anything can happen in the tournament. So
Hey, he said
and
it.
and
Sorry.
HP1 is unforgiving. HP1 PC is unforgiving. So I really, really excited for that one.
Very much so. And of course, Finn managed to get the phrase in there. Anything can happen. Um, 2GBC now. So again, after each single year, we'll take a small break to recuperate and advise you to go and get some num nums, get something to hydrate, have a stretch, walk around, because that's important. Self care is important, chat. So now we're moving on to 2GBC any percent, and this matchup will be Tula Fiber, I believe is how you say it. Tutelar. There we go. So, my apologies. I should have proofread these names. Tutelar Fiber versus Flow. Flow is making a return. As we said, we will see some recurring names because fitting out basically a 46-player event is gonna be difficult. So there are some recurring names. But yeah, Flow coming in for 2GBC here. Any thoughts on this one, Finn?
I think you've summarized it all beautifully there. Just looking where Tutela is sitting on the leaderboard, so comfortable ninth place. So
Ooh,
probably a little bit of a bigger gap there. So there's about 8 minutes in between their PBs. Looking at it, but
indeed.
yeah, TGBC. I think it's always like one of the more forgotten games. Um, Speaking as
I'd say
someone who
so.
as of right now, never played it. Uh, but it's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, especially with 1GBC getting the A strats now.
Yes.
2GBC is kind of left a bit by the wayside, particularly like 2GPA as well. It's kind of forgotten about.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I just realized I confused GBC and GBA. I have played 2 GBC. I actually quite liked it. I haven't played 2 GBA, which is next on our list as well.
Hey, I was hoping you were going to take that transition, mate.
That's as smooth as it's going to get. The 2 GBA any percent will then be next, and facing against each other in this for this race is Twiggy versus Katashi.
Oh, I'm very excited. Wiggy, of course, being the Omega High donator from Part Fun 9. Not just that, that's not just all the wikis, of course, but we have to call that out because that was an insane, what was it, like $600 she donated?
I It was something around that. Yeah, it was something.
And of course, Katashi, Legend of 7 Part 2. But also, throwing his hat in for GBA here. I think this could be a really interesting matchup, and I'm very excited
Yeah.
to see Wiggy come again into an event because I do believe again this is her event debut. So I am very excited to see that. It's cool to see a lot of people getting their event debut in this event.
Yes, absolutely. And it really speaks for the spirit of the event sort of coming through, and kind of that idea of giving people that maybe struggling with that little bit of a language barrier with the other events to kind of have the courage, or whatever it is that is maybe preventing them from participating in events, but a feeling that this is a platform, an event that is a safe space for them, that they can participate in, and so seeing that being reflected in so many first timers, I think is a absolute is a great thing.
Definitely. Moving on to PS1, where we have Taker versus Carius. Again, apologies if I butcher any names. Occupational hazard of being a Twitch streamer. Um, Taker, of course, um, mega like he has like I think he has second place on like most PS1 leaderboards at this point. Taker
He
really
does,
has
yeah.
come and
He's really been focusing on the PS1 games for a number of years now, and it's really brought them close to perfection, as much as you can if you run the same category as the Frenchman that should not be named.
yes, we shall not talk about the Frenchman. He can't keep getting away with this. But yeah, I'm very interested to see this matchup. Spy Curious, I believe is PS1 mod now. I do believe so. They have obviously the game knowledge, and of course Tego has the game knowledge as well. So I'm very curious to see how this goes into PS1. Any percent.
So after that, we will be seeing HP2, the GameCube version, 80% on emulator, which is fantastic news. Even though it's the slower of the 6 gens, but it means we actually get to see the game, people. We don't just have to look at loading screens for an hour.
Ooh.
And facing off against each other for this one will be Choo Choo versus Islia. So yeah, Islia returns for her second game, and will be facing against Choo Choo, which
I
is.
mean, Islia had to return for 2 6 gen. This is her bread
I
and
mean,
butter.
she is also, I believe, still the current world record holder for the emulator category.
I do believe you are correct, my friend. So yeah, but of course, I mean, as soon as I heard this event was happening, I knew Islia was going to be doing 2 6 gen because this is where she got her start. This is her bread and butter. Like, I don't know if you remember the game you started with speedrunning, but I have a lot of comfort towards like free Xbox in that regard. So
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's one glitchless for me, and it will always be the game that I will always come back to. So absolutely can relate to that.
indeed. And finally, in the HP2 round, a exciting matchup, I have to say here, of 2 PAC 80% of Araka versus Renee. That's going to be interesting. Looking at their
That
PBs according to the stats in front of me, they are just 4 seconds apart. I don't know if
Wow.
that's still correct at the current time, but the seeding times I have in front of me are 38-18 versus a 38-22.
That is going to be quite something, yeah.
Yes, and of course we have a fellow German and a Dutchy there in the the matchup. There, I assume I know which way you will be leaning, Finn, with this matchup.
Oh, absolutely towards the Dutch.
Wow.
I just like Renee himself. I do enjoy a good Heineken or two. So, and now we'll run for the hills before he finds me. Um,
The,
but yeah,
when
very very close together. I'm just double checking on speedrun.com, and your information is correct. So it is obviously RTA all of the times that we've got. So there's 4 seconds of RTA in between them. A little bit more if we're looking at the lobe removed time, but still, it's gonna be a close one.
It would indeed. Speaking of close ones, that was a really bad transition. That is the end of day one. HB1 and HB2 will take up day one, and we'll move into day three.
Yeah, and you will see as we go along now that the number of games per single year might slightly decrease. HB1 and 2 are definitely the two films slash books that got the majority of games.
Quite.
But yeah, day three, and sorry, no, day two, will start with HB3 GBA any percent. And facing off against each other will be Fract versus Nikki. Which is also going. I mean, HB3 GBA any percent. I always think in the tournament setting because there's quite a bit of RNG involved in that run, isn't there? That
Yeah.
always a really interesting thing to see people trying to race against each other when you've got the RNG playing a big part of it.
Yeah, free GBA, a staple of past polyphons as well. So it's definitely one that we've seen a lot. In fact, and Nikki, both very strong runners in this game. I'm very curious to see, and I'm curious to see as well because I believe isn't there the RNG minute that can only work on console.
You will know that better than me, Miney.
Okay, well the fact that neither of us are 100% sure, I do know there's a Dino lurking around somewhere, and he has done a full series run. So Dino, please help us or anyone else in chat. But I believe that is the case. I'm curious to see if they're running on emulator or if they're
Hmm.
running on original hardware.
Yeah.
But speaking of emulator versus original hardware, we have
Thank you
another.
for confirming, Blaze. RNG manip setup is console only.
Thank you, Blaze. But speaking of the emulator split, we moved to free Xbox any percent, which is a bit of an unusual one at the moment because we do have a blank space. And I'll write your name. No, sorry. Autism took over there. We have on team one at the moment we have a blank space, but this matchup will be versus Dino. Islia, the event organizer, is currently looking into solutions for this. As such, I would say that if you get a DM from Islia, please respond as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
But yes, we're currently
So
looking into
this
solutions for this. But yeah,
this is also a call out to you, all of you. Do you think you can beat the mighty Dino 95 Huda? Do you think that you can complete HP3 Xbox any percent in under 2 minutes? 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 7 seconds. Well, then we have a opportunity for you right here to slot into this match and get in touch with Islia as soon as possible.
we know you can, Blaze, but you're the world record holder. That's why I was asking you how much time, like, not Defindo, that's not on HP3, Glacius and all of that takes. Because I was like, if Blaze does Glacius and Carpe and Hogsmeade. Oh, no, you're not. He's not the world record holder.
Unbelievable. Miney
I,
doesn't
I,
even know that we're the
I'm
world
I'm
record
so
holder.
sorry. I feel like I've let everyone down. I'm sorry. Yes, Future Curious first, but yes, if anyone has an interest in doing that, please let Isley know as soon as possible. Preferably
Just to
someone with a
quickly test your
similar.
knowledge there, Miney, do you know who is fourth placed in HP3 6th gen any percent on the emulator board?
See, that was very specific, so I'm assuming it's me. But I was
Yes,
also
it
gonna say
is.
I don't have a fucking clue, Finn. It's like you could ask me who is 20th place on the glitchless leaderboard for 2PC, and I'd be like, your mum. I don't know.
Hey, she's 19th, okay? She's worked very hard on her PB.
Look, I'm just gonna say it now. When you ask me and Finn to present something like this is the level of professionalism you're gonna get. I hope you're enjoying it, chat. Speaking of enjoying it, we'll move on to free PC.
Yes. So next up will be HP3 PC any percent. And that will be shown off by Tavern and the Portugal guy 10,000.
Yep, Tavern and Portal Guy, 10,000, 1,000. I believe it's 1,000 on Discord and 10,000 on Twitch. But the man with multiple zeros at the end of his name. But we're gonna be a very interesting matchup this one. Porter, of course, a very strong proprietor of the frog into Glitchless. There are lots of frogs you can collect in free PC. I'm very curious to see how this goes. And Tavern, of course, a South American runner. So a nice bit of representation there. I think it's going to be exciting to see. Do you have any thoughts on how this one's going to come out, Finn?
I mean, I suppose the odds are leaning towards Tavern. Just looking at the PBs, Tavern sitting at that very comfortable 7th place in the top 10. But Portal, Portal is he's strong in everything really. I always think Portal like we shouldn't sort of cast him aside because whatever Portal sets his mind to, I feel like he always works very hard on achieving his goals or what he wants to do. So if he sets his mind to be in Tavern, I think it can be done. Watch the space.
Absolutely. We've seen Paul grind, optimize, automate, thrive. No, sorry, that's a Hermicroft reference for anyone.
You're talking about the person that to prepare for the two glitches tournament a couple of years ago, streamed until he managed to do 100 nick skips in a row.
Yes, Portal is insane. Speaking of insane, 4GBA, any percent being ran.
Beautiful transition there.
Thank you. Sweet being ran by a Blaze Knight and Avram35 aka Millen. This will be a very interesting one because, as far as I'm aware, Blaze does not currently have a 4 GBA time on the board. So I'm very curious to see how this goes. Versus Avram, one of the handheld masters, if I do say so. No, that's not a good. That's not a applicable statement to write an answer that. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how this goes. Avram, like I say, very much a handheld connoisseur, particularly with the GBA games. I feel like, so I'm very curious to see how this goes.
And speaking of even more insane, after that, we'll see HP4 PC any percent. And I'm sure this matchup will come to nobody's surprise. Because who else to show off for PC and to race against each other in 4 PC than Blaze and Dean? The two people that probably jointly have broken and optimized HP4 more than anyone else in the community, who have the sole reason why the one player world record is now at a sub 1 hour, who have pushed the game even further. Blaze currently sitting at a staggering 57.22 with the world record. Dean just behind with a 58.58. So that is going to be that. It's definitely a personal highlight for me of that entire tournament. This matchup, it's gonna be one for the ages.
Definitely agreed. I mean, Blaze, the winner of the HB4 tournament, totally not rigged over there on his own channel. But also Dino coming in third place in that tournament. I do believe he perhaps would have come higher if he hadn't been as tired, because that tournament, I will say, generally ran a little bit late into the day. So I think a lot of people got quite tired. Um, but yeah, I'm very curious to see how this matchup comes out. Like you say, it's in a very interesting way. I mean, we saw Blaze pull out, what was it, like a 59 at Potathon when he had COVID. Like, if he can do that, I'm kind of scared of what he can do for an event like this. But Blaze will just be coming off of 4 GBA, whereas Dino will not. So I'm very curious to see if that has any effect on Blaze. But that is the end of HP4, so we move into HP5, and we go to 5 GBA. No wrong warp, baby. That's not the correct category. I've just realised it's no save corrupt. Our apologies. There's a slight.
We know what you meant. We
Yeah.
know what you.
I'm just saying it's written on the slide as no wrong warp, so I'm just letting people know it's no save corrupt. But yes, 5 GBA no save corrupt, and of course, if we're talking about 5 GBA, it's gotta be Henrik versus Avram. Like, 5 GBA without Henrik? Are you mad?
Yeah, you can't have 5 GBA in a tournament and not have Henrik show it off. That will be a criminal offense, I believe.
Yep, and he'll be showing it off in full style, because like we say, it is no save corrupt. So we'll be seeing the entire game, which I am very much intrigued by and excited for. Should be a lot of fun. That game, I think, like 1 GBA, has a lot of decent stuff in it, but most often people just don't play the full game because of the any percent big skip. So yeah. Anywho,
And now that we have reached HP5 onwards, there's only 2 games per single year now. So we're going from the DS straight onto HP5 PC, any percent, um, which is going to be run by Sammy versus Nikki.
yep. To clarify, Sammy speedruns.
Sorry,
Because
yes, I should have clarified that. I always forget there's 2 in the community. There's Sammy speedruns.
yes,
That's Nikki.
as opposed to Sammy doesn't speedrun.
Someone just grab that username now, please.
Please do, that'd be great. Very interesting matchup. Sammy, I think, quite high up on HP5 leaderboards, if I'm not much mistaken.
Both of them, if I remember correctly, are quite high on the boards. Yeah.
Yeah, VAR, HP5
Yeah,
expert in chat.
literally, and I mean, obviously, it's the Belgium face off as well. So
Thank you.
it is all to play for. It is about Belgium, just all of Belgium. Whoever wins
Gets
will be
Belgium.
the speedrun king of Belgium.
Thank you. I remember looking through this list last night and thinking I wanted to call that out, and I completely forgot. So thank you for reminding me that yes, this is the Belgium bust up. I don't know. But yeah, moving on though into HP6, into what some people have called the worst game in Harry Potter speedrunning, HP6DS. And going up again in HP6DS, we have Luzak versus Flo. A very interesting matchup here. Luzak, of course, second place in the bingo tournament at the end of last year, but also a big connoisseur of the PSP games in the handheld community. Meanwhile, Flo, well, he's just Flo. I don't really have to say much about Flo. You already know he's man with over 100 world records at this point. Like, yeah, I'm very intrigued. The PB is looking at the seeding are very close though, so I'm very curious to see. Because I think Luzak did take the world record from Flo for a little bit, if I recall correctly.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
So yeah, I am very much curious to see how this match will fall. Um, but yeah, that's 6DS for you.
That is 6DS indeed. So after DS, you know the drill, how it goes by now. There will be HP6 PC, any percent, which will be played by Henrik and Jamie. So Henrik returning non-handheld for PC and facing against Jamie. And again, I'm just trying to recall their PBs, but Jamie is fairly he's been grinding HP6 for a while, if I remember correctly.
He, I believe, doesn't have an 80% time, but he has a hundo time. Um, which I believe is from the 100 Feta Relay last year. And then Henrik, I don't believe has an 80% time, but he is learning the game specifically for this event, which we take great admiration for people being willing to learn games for this event. We didn't mention it earlier with Blaze and 4GPA, but of course,
And I must say I always like to grab the opportunity when I get it to correct Miney on things to do with
oh,
speedrunning because Henrik indeed has a time. He's 25th on the leaderboard. He has a 2:29:45 for 6
okay.
BCM.
How recent is that time?
Hang on. 2 years ago. So you've got no excuse.
Oh, all right. Well, Finn's going to be doing the rest of this stream on his own because apparently I've just been fired. Okay, okay. So, Um, moving on to the sevens, we move to 7 part 1 DS any percent. No, it's not quite there yet. Sorry. Um, but yes, in this game we are having Brandino versus Beaver. As we said earlier, Brandino, a gluten for pain with 7 part 1 DS. The game with no music after the first level against Complex Beaver, um, veteran runner of the community, and yeah.
World record holder in the DS category as well.
Interesting. Brandino, the person who has said he would consider running a DBA, a DS Pentafecta at some point as well. So he
Wow.
has the stomach for a run like this. So I'm very curious to see how this matchup goes.
And coming out of 7.1 DS, we will be moving on to 7.1 PC, any percent, which will be run by Nixo versus iMac. Um, so again, really, really interesting one. I know that iMac is well, he's second on the on the leaderboards, and obviously Nixop I was gonna say, like, as part of his top 10 grind, Deathly Hallows Part One, he should definitely be in the top 10. And I know, I mean, he has been in the top 10 for a long, long time. If I remember correctly, way back, Nixo actually held the world record for 7 Part 1 PC for quite a while. I believe it was, if I remember
Hmm.
correctly, sort of one of sort of the first of bigger sort of higher placements that he got in the community.
He did indeed, and he is the person that made the 7 part 1 tutorial, which is still the most up to date
Really?
tutorial we have for this community. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nixa is a veteran of this game, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the matchup we saw in the Hunter Factor Relay last year for this
You
game.
are absolutely correct. Yes.
So it's a
So I,
rematch in an any percent capacity for them.
yeah,
I'm very curious to see how that goes. But speaking of possibly like bad Harry Potter games, opinions vary. 7 part 2 DS. I mean, look, I'm just gonna come out and say it. Why do you make us escape Malfoy Manor again? Like that happened in
it
F seven
was
part one.
so good the first time around. You just had to do it again.
Sure. But yes, playing 7 part 2 DS, we have Nixo and Dino. My condolences to both of these runners having to play such an awful game. I mean,
They
I
will
say this,
have
I've
each
never
other's
played it.
company.
They wouldn't. Actually, to be fair, Dino said during his full series in October that he was quite enjoying 7 part 2 DS, if you recall
That
correctly.
is very true, and I believe on that statement alone is the reason why I added it to my current marathon. And then I was told that apparently it's a bad game, and now I'm stuck with it.
Nah, Dino, I don't think I'm going to give the context. I'm just going to let people think that you think 7 part 2 is a great game.
We've got
To
clips
be honest,
to
I perfectly
prove it
don't
all,
even
Dean.
remember the context, so that's why I can't give you the context because I don't remember it. I've slept since then. What can I say?
And swiftly moving on before Dean has a chance to explain himself, the final category of the event will be 7.2 PC, any percent, and seeing the event out will be Gertie versus Katashi. I mean, Katashi uh, was the world record holder for a very, very long time. Also, the person that created the still up to date tutorial for this game, if I'm not completely wrong.
You are correct.
Gertie close on his heels. I know Gertie's been grinding 7.2 a lot, especially I think when the New Game Plus tournament was happening for that. And yeah, we had the Belgium showdown before. This is going to be the German showdown. So
Quite.
we'll see who takes the German crown.
And I have to mention here, you talk about the New Game Plus tournament. Katashi was the first person to get a sub 1 time in New Game Plus, and was
Yeah.
also the person to kill Flo's world record because Flo and Katashi were racing in the tournament for context. And see, I will give context to this, but not to Dino's grievances. Um, Flo and Katashi were racing in the tournament, and Flo finished and beat the world record. But then 3 seconds, I don't know, I think it was 2 seconds later, Katashi finished and got a sub 1. So the shortest world record run, I think, in HP speedrunning history is 2 seconds by Flo in HB 7 Part 2 PC New Game Plus, and was immediately beaten by Katashi getting a sub 1. So it's completely overshadowed that world record.
It was amazing to watch, and if anyone has not seen, I'd highly recommend try and find the clip
The clip is on the world record
of
doc
the
if you are
moment
curious.
because it's probably it's definitely in my top three moments of being in this community of like things that happened. Like that was insane, absolutely insane. So
It
it's
definitely.
gonna be a great match.
It most definitely will. And they are playing any percent, so we'll be seeing all the cutscenes.
Yes,
Of course. And that includes the final cutscene, of course.
the
As a perfect way to end off the event.
yeah.
Um
We're
the
gonna see
final
thank you for playing, and we're gonna see every single game that we've seen over the course of this tournament.
speaking though, um here are the teams. We have they've given themselves names and colours. They've been voting on this. We have the Harry Up Plotters versus the Purple Puffs, and those are the teams they're listed. I'll read one side. We have Mena, Solar, Solar Gun, sorry, Brandino, Mip Mip, Tulafar. Okay, reading names in quick succession is not my specialty. It seems. Two, two, two.
I will release you.
Thank you, Finn. Thank
Mip
you,
Mip,
Finn.
Tutela, Turd Wiki, Tego, Choo Choo, Araka, Fract, Tavern, Blaze, Henrik, Sammy Speedrun, Lusak, Nixo, and Gertie. And then in the Purple Puff corner, we will have Mark, Imek, Islia, Flo, Katashi, Spikerios, Brene, Nikki, Dean, Portal, Avram, Jamie, and Beaver.
Thank you, Finn. You came
You
to
are
my
most
rescue
welcome.
there. But yes, very interesting matchup versus the Harry Up Plotters versus the Purple Puff. I must say, I quite enjoyed the Purple Puff as a 6th gen runner. Purple Puff.
I as yeah, I will have to root with the Purple Puffs on this. Just as a fellow Hufflepuff myself, I feel like I'm obliged to root for my team here.
Quite so. And to conclude, we have the graphics here. Again, reminder, we are looking for someone to take the free 6th gen slot versus Dino. It cannot. I think the only caveat is it can't be if you're already on team 2, because I think that would be a bit weird to have someone
Yes,
double
it will.
crossing their own
Yeah,
team.
it will need to be a team one member. I'm assuming someone who's on either or who's on neither team as of
Yes,
yet.
but if you have any interest in being a part of that, please do reach out to Islia as soon as possible. because, as we can both attest, having a hole in your event is not fun, and you want to get it fixed as quickly as possible. So please help
Absolutely.
Islia fix the hole. But now we've gone through all the names and everything. Again, do you have like any final thoughts about like any matchups? I know you talked about the HP4 PC one, but are there any other ones that you think will be really interesting to watch? I mean, the
I
whole
think,
event
I
will
mean,
be, but
yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the whole event is going to be great. I think start to finish. Yeah, for PC, I think it's going to be a personal highlight for me. One PC is going to be a personal highlight for me, mainly just because it is my favorite game out of all of them. Um, 7.2 PC again. I think that's going to be really interesting. Gertie versus Katashi. It's always great to see Henrik show off 5 GBA. There's too much to choose, mine. There's too much to choose.
quite so indeed. And I must say, I am very happy to see such a mix of people. Like you've got your bigger, like what I call like the main three of Nixo, Beaver, and Flo, the big three. But then you've got,
Yeah.
your lesser known people. Obviously, you've got Islia in there. You've got Dino, Jamie, Henrik, Wiggy's in there. Choo Choo's in there. Menno, Brandino. Brandino especially is someone who comes from the 6th gen side. I am very much excited to see Brandino. And again, like we said, all those
Mm,
people that are doing their event debuts in this event,
yeah.
we're very excited for. But we're also, as a reminder, we are also again looking for additional volunteers for commentary, translation, restreaming, and moderation. So if any of you
Yes.
in this thing are interested in that, then there is a form which is there. I don't know if you have it to post, um, but you can fill in. If it's not available now, it will be available soon. But essentially, we have the teams, we have the runners, but we need your help to help make this event happen properly with restreamers and commentators and etc. You don't have to be an expert, as I've proven many times with my two PC glitches commentary. You can just, you know, have fun. And I think generally with commentary, if you have one person that knows the game and knows what's going on, like you play, you have you sort of you play by play and then you color someone who's just there to make little jokes and bounce off the other person. I think it works really well. But also, I don't think it hurts to have two people that just really know the game. Yeah, commentary
No,
you
I
is what
no,
you
I,
make
I
of it.
think yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there's always plenty of time to quickly look up some interesting facts about the game, whether beforehand or while you're doing it.
Absolutely, I did that during the HP5 match because I was very much aware that it was going to be the longest of the event in the 100 effective relay. Um, and then, yeah, sat at my PC for 5 hours commentating, and then afterwards I wasn't really thirsty. I was more hungry, which confused me. Um, but
HP5 does that to you.
it does indeed. But anyway, I think that's pretty much everything that we were going to talk about today. So thank you everybody for listening. I hope you were excited. Again, the event is taking place on the 15th. There's the form that is posted in the chat. So if you want to sign up for volunteering, then you can click on the link there and fill in the form. Please fill it in to the best of your ability to make life easier for our organizer, Islia. But yeah, do come back on the 15th of June for this event. Yeah, I'm sure you'll be hearing about it lots more before then. This is going to be a really cool event, and as me and Finn have both said, I'm very excited to see it. I know you are as well, Finn,
Yeah.
and I am very happy that this event is happening. So thank you. Finn, do you have any final words before we round this off?
No, I think you've summarized it beautifully. So really excited. Hope to see everyone at the event. Thank you to Miney for co-hosting this reveal together with me, and thank you very much to Islia for considering us to be the ones to reveal this really exciting schedule. And hopefully, we'll see everyone in June.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to Islia for essentially giving us free reign with this and sort of saying, I trust you, go with it. It's been cool to sort of delve into it. But yeah, I think then we should look if Israel would like for somebody to raid. I see there is a Nixo on. We could go and raid him. But there are of course many other people who we could go and raid. The raid choice is up to you, Israel. It is your channel, and I do not have permission to do it. But thank you from me and Finn, for watching this and taking your time for the past hour to sit with us as we go through the schedule. And please do come back on the 15th of June to enjoy the full event, which should be a really amazing event. Like I said, we've got a bunch of cool stuff. It's not just the runs, we've got the really cool intro provided by certain Romanian, and a bunch of other cool stuff too. So bring your snacks, bring yourselves, and enjoy on the 15th, 16th, and 22nd of June. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I will leave it to Islia to raid us off to somewhere nice. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone, and goodbye.
Bye bye.